NX CAD software training. Today we are going to see about dimensional constraints. Until now we have seen about geometrical constraints and all the features we have come across in the sketches. So this is our 11th tutorial on sketch. Thanks for your support and keep watching. Those who have not subscribed, please subscribe. And most of the people are asking questions in the emails. Instead of that, if you ask in the questions in the YouTube video itself, in the comment itself, means it would be great. So others also will come to know what are all the mistakes they are doing. So now I am replying for them even in the email also. Instead of that, please ask questions in the YouTube video itself. Okay, let's move on to the topic now. So today we are going to see about dimensional constraints. Okay, now I will take you an interesting step on what will be the impact on automatic dimension when you do so. Okay, right now let us make sure that continuous auto dimension is on. Okay, continuous auto dimension is on now, so that we will get the dimension along with the dimension. Okay, right. So now I am going to make one rectangle. Okay, right. I have created a rectangle now. You can see the dimension now. What are all the dimensions are present? From the x-axis, how much it is far, and from the y-axis, how much it is. That is the distance between these xyz positions it has given now. Okay, right. So now we have got the automatic dimension. Now this 26 dimension, it controls. It look like it controls this line and this line. And this 62 dimension controls this line and this line. That means the entire profile is controlled with these two dimensions. That is how it look like. Now you see only one dimension, only one line. I am going to delete it. You see what is the impact on that. For example, 62 dimension, 62 mm dimension is controlled between these two lines. Suppose I am deleting this line, means this 62 dimension also should go. That is the design intent we are expecting. But let us see now what's happening. So I am going to delete this line, select this and go for the delete key. Okay, just to see this, what happens. This line is there, this line I removed, even though we have a dimension for this 62. Okay, now I'm going to delete this line also. You see now what's happening. Delete it. Now also the same 62 dimension still present. That means it is not constraining the profile, it controls only the line. It controls only the line. That is why we are telling that do not use automatic dimensions. Hope you understand that why you should not use the automatic dimensions. Okay, let's move on to our dimensional constraints topic. Let us create a rectangle. So now I have created a rectangle. Here you can see all these corners are arrested with the perpendicularity symbol, perpendicularity constraining each other. And here you can see there is a horizontal line with reference to that everything is perpendicular. So this is how generally the rectangle will get created. Here you can see now there are nearly 4 constraints are required. One is this vertical movement, you have to arrest it, and this horizontal movement of this rectangle you have to arrest it. So you have to give geometrical constraint now. Now I'm going for collinearity dimension. Okay, now I have chosen the collinearity. Now I'm selecting this vertical line and the vertical y-axis. So it got aligned now, constraint now. Now I am selecting horizontal line and the horizontal this x-axis. So this also got locked now. Now you can see there are 2 constraints are required. One is this linear movement, another one is this vertical linear movement. Okay, these 2 positions we have to arrest it. Geometrical constraint first, whatever it is possible, then you go for dimensional constraint. Okay, now I'm going for dimensional constraint. So I'm going to do linear dimension. So go to the sketch button over here, and here rapid dimension will be there. Rapid dimension means it will take horizontal dimension, vertical dimension, all the dimension is acceptable through rapid dimension. Suppose you are going for linear dimension, means here you can ask for, here multiple options will come. From here also you can choose it. Even if you go for the rapid dimension also, here also will get the same template like this, same dialog box as it is. So here also you can choose it. Okay, right. So what is the suggested way, whether I need to go for rapid dimension or else otherwise I need to go for linear dimension? You can go for anything, but it is better to go rapid dimension. But don't take the dimension like anyway it will accept even the arc, it will accept even the line also to take the dimension from the inferred dimensions. But don't do that. Always from our experience, when you are going for automation of your component or something like that, that time it will cause a problem. So instead of that, what you can do, you can go for rapid dimension, select this horizontal, means select this horizontal, select this line. Okay, suppose in the horizontal I wanted to control this rectangle as a profile, means I need to select this line, I need to select this line, then this dimension is controlled like this. Okay, please remember, you need to, when you are giving a horizontal dimension, you are controlling the profile. That means this overall length you are controlling, not the line's length. I am not controlling the line length, I am controlling this profile. So what I did is I selected this line and I selected this line, so that this dimension got selected. Now if I delete this line also, this dimension should vanish. That is what the design intent, what we need. Okay, suppose I'm deleting this line, means this dimension has to get rid of. This is the right way of doing. Suppose I am deleting this line, means this dimension has to get rid of like this. Okay, so this is how it should act. Suppose I'm deleting this line, means it should not cause any problem for us, because of that is controlled by this vertical dimension. I am not considering about that now. So even if I delete also, it should not cause any problem. That is why we are telling that whenever you are taking any dimension, control the profile, not the line. Some people, what they will do, they will go for rapid dimension and they will go for vertical here. Then they will select the single line, they will select only a single line and they will pick this dimension and they will place it. This is what they will think that it is correct. No, it is not correct. Why I am telling that is, now this dimension is controlled only for this line, not for the profile. Between these two lines we didn't take any dimension, we taken the dimension only for this line only. Since it is connected to this line, is connected to this end point, the profile dimensions will get changed. See, now I'm going to delete this line. See now what's happening. So this line I'm going to delete it. So there is no impact on this dimension. That means this dimension is applicable only for this vertical line, not for this profile. So this is why we are telling that don't use automatic dimension, one thing. And the second one is, don't take the dimension for the single line, take the dimension always for the profile of a line. Okay, now this vertical dimension, how we need to do, we have to go for rapid dimension, go for vertical. Okay, select this line, then you select this line. So now we have taken the dimension for the profile. Now if you delete this line, this dimension also will get rid of. This is how the component have to be constrained. Now I have taken a small example for this to make you understand. Okay, you practice more number of drawings like this also. Okay, now I have taken the dimension like this. Now I wanted to edit it, means whatever the dimension you want, you can edit it. For each and every dimension there will be a expression will be created like this. Okay, you no need to worry about the expression whatever it is creating. Let's edit these dimensions. Suppose I wanted to edit this dimension, means now the P8 is contains 111.74 something. So I'm going to change this into 100. Just edit this and give OK. Double click on this. Okay, then you wanted to edit, means whatever the dimension you wanted to give that and press the middle mouse button, so it will get updated like this. Okay, so this is how you can make this dimension editable. And if this sketch goes out of the screen, means make a right click, go for the fit option. These are all the options we already seen during our mouse operations itself, NX mouse operation itself. In the earlier tutorials you can make a refer of it. Okay, right. So this is how the sketch can be fully constrained. Okay, right. Now I'm going to create some more object as well. So now I am going to create one more circle here to the middle of this. Okay, right. Now I wanted to constrain this object, means now you can see sketch needs 3 constraints like it has asked. Okay, first what I wanted to specify is, from this existing line I wanted to take a dimension, means you can go for linear dimension, go for linear dimension, or else rapid dimension also, it's fine. From here you go for horizontal, select this line, select this object and take the dimension. Similarly, you don't worry about the dimensions to edit, just to place the dimensions first. Okay, later you can edit it. Select this, linear dimension. Now I'm going to select vertical dimension, select this and select this point, so that the vertical dimension will get created. Now it requires one more constraint. Don't keep editing the dimensions, don't do that. Just give the dimensions, first constrain it, then later you can edit the dimensions. Now whether you want the radius or else you want the diameter, that you have to prefer here. Suppose you are going for inferred, means it will take by default in diameter only. Suppose you wanted to go for radial, means you can go for radial. You want only diameter, means diameter you can go. So whichever the diameter your preference, you can go for it. Select this and place this. Okay, this is how you can make the sketch to be fully constrained. Now you edit the dimension. Okay, now I wanted this dimension to be 100, means you can give 100. Suppose 100 I wanted to give, so I'm giving 100. Suppose I wanted to change it as 50, you can change it like this. Okay, so based on the dimension value, it is not going to do anything for either it is a fully constrained or not constrained, under constraint. Only the dimensions, if you apply it, whatever the required dimensions you apply it, then it will get constrained automatically. Okay, so now this sketch is also got fully constrained. Okay, now I'm going to create one additional arc, means additionally I want one arc here in the middle, means then I'm going for arc option. Go for arc option, I'm going from middle, arc center and end points I'm going. So middle point I'm going to select it. Okay, from here I'm going to choose it. So the midpoint I'm choosing, I'm giving okay. Then from here to here I'm going to draw this arc. Okay, then this line is meaningless now. So what I'm going to do, I want this line to be converted into reference, means select this line, make a right click, convert to reference. These are all the chapters we have seen in the earlier session also. So now also I'm doing. Okay, right. So now I have created this dimension, so that this linear dimension is also controlled here, and this arc dimension also to be controlled here, because of this arc will have a not get connected to the end point. If you want to connect it, you can go for this geometrical constraint, and you can go for coincident. Okay, select this lines arc endpoint. So endpoint you can choose it, then you select this lines endpoint. Okay, so this lines endpoint you choose it, so that this will get connected like this. Okay, now the sketch is fully constrained. Suppose this dimension I do not want, I wanted to give this arc radius only, means you have to make this dimension to be reference. I do not want this dimension, means, but this dimension also must be present, the radius dimension also must be present, but based on the radius dimension only I wanted to control this profile, means then what you can do, whatever the additional dimensions you have provided, you have to change it into reference dimension. Okay, now I will show you in both the cases. Now I am going for radial dimension. I am going to use this radial button, select this and provide this. Okay, now you can see there are this sketch geometry is over constrained, it has told. Why it is over constrained, means because of here you have two dimensions. One is this linear dimension is also present, and as well as the radius dimension is also present. Because of that it is saying over constraint, because of the for the same profile we have given two dimensions. Because of that it says that it is over constraint. Anyone I have to delete it, or else I have to make it as a reference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this as a reference dimension, convert to reference, so that this is our active dimension. Based on this one only our profile is going to get controlled. Okay, suppose I want this radius to be 40, means you can change it into 40 now. Okay, based on that the profile distance also will get changed. See here, even the reference and dimension also got updated. This is how this radial dimension will work. Suppose I want this radial dimension to be reference and I want this linear dimension to be active, means make this as a convert to reference, then make this as a active. Okay, right, this is how it will work. Suppose I wanted to make this as 120, means you can go for 120, then it will become like this. Okay, this is in our design, based on our design intent we can decide it which one you want and which one you wanted to make it as a reference. Okay, right. So now we have seen linear dimension, in which horizontal, vertical and arc and as well as the diameter dimensions we have seen it. Okay, now let's move on to the other one. Now I'm going for linear dimension. Now here you can see there is a perpendicularity dimension, there is a point to point dimension. Point to point dimension means nothing, I have a line. For that I need to create one dimension, means that is what point to point dimension. For example, I am going out of this profile, I will create some lines and I will explain you. So this is my line. I have one more line also like this. Okay, one more line also like this. Right. Now I'm going for linear dimension. I wanted to take a dimension of this point to point dimension, means from this point to this point I want to measure a distance, means, or else from this point to this point I wanted to measure a distance, means you can go for it. Point to point I'm going, select this point and select this point. So the dimension will be taken between these 2 points. See, it is not parallel, it is taken a dimension between these 2 points only. Okay, now I'm going to rotate this line. You just see what's happening. See now, even though the dimensions will be there, point to point means this end point and this end point, between these two only I am controlling the dimension. Even the lines angle, whatever the profile, it got changed, it doesn't matter, even though the line dimension will be maintained. This is what point to point dimension. Generally it is not frequently used, only in very rare cases we might come across this kind of dimension to use. Okay, so this is what point to point dimension. Generally don't take any dimension with reference to the point to point unless otherwise it is really required. Okay, right. So now we'll move on to the other one. So now I'm going for linear dimension, in which I wanted to go for perpendicularity dimension, means select this line and select this line. Okay, this is the perpendicularity dimension. For example, in this case actually there is no parallel dimension in NX. Earlier it was there, but later they have removed it. Okay, now it is like this. I wanted to take a perpendicularity dimension between this one and this one, means you can go for it. See now, I'm going to select this line and I'm going to select this line. Okay, with reference to this point it will select it and it will take the dimension, not with the line. So this is how this perpendicularity dimension will do that. Okay, suppose I am going for a cylindrical dimension, means nothing, we will have a diametrical dimension. For example, I have a rectangle like this. Okay, now I wanted to do a cylindrical dimension, means that we will consider that it is a cylindrical object. So cylindrical dimension. Now I will go for select this, we will get a diametrical dimension. That means this rectangle whatever we have created, it is considered as a cylindrical object. Then only we can go for this kind of dimensions. Otherwise we will not use it. Okay, right. Now let's move on to the other one. So angular dimension means I am going to create a two lines here like this. Okay, between these two I wanted to take an angular dimension, means go for angular dimension, select this line and select this line. Okay, between these two I have created an angular dimension. This is how this angular dimension will get created. Let's say about angular dimension reattachment. So now I have angular dimension called 45 degree. Now I have one more line I have created in between these two. So now what I want is, instead of this line dimension is with this, I wanted to move this dimension to this. Okay, now I wanted to change this 45 degree to be present at to this line, means double click on this. I wanted to reattach this dimension to this line, means just to select the second object. So this is the second object it is. Now I wanted to move it to this one, means just click on this, it will get moved. Suppose the first object I wanted to move it to this one, means you can double click on this, the first object you go. So this is the first object. Instead of that I wanted to select this one, means just to select it, it will change that dimension to that line. So this is how this angular dimension will work. Even whatever the dimension it is there, everything will work in the same fashion. See now I have a rectangle here, so this cylindrical dimension I have applied here. Now you double click on this, which is our first object, which is our second object, it will say. So this is our first object, this is our second object. Don't select the lines end point, always select either any middle point of this line, you can select it, or else simply you can select the line. Okay, don't select any end of the lines. Okay, right. So this is how this dialog box will work. So now we have seen the dimensions, whatever the dimensional constraints are there, that is what we have seen today. So tomorrow we are going to see about a few more options, and after that we are going to start with our exercises as well. We are going to see about a relation browser, animate dimensions, alternate solutions, and display object color. These are all the things we are going to see. Other than that, we are going to start with our sketch exercise as well. Okay. So let's see tomorrow. Hope you understand today's session. If you are not subscribed till now, please subscribe to the channel and keep following me. So let's see in the next class. Thank you.